Woof, woof. 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 Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, test. Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test.
Hello, CQ, the old friends net meets here every Thursday and Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. on 3715, operating in the AM mode only, and we are a roundtable type net. It's a good place to get information about vintage equipment, to talk about technology that applies to the same, and just have a good time overall. So CQ, the old friends net, this is N4LQ. Please call for a check-in.
Good morning there, my friend. WA4LLR.
WP4ARK. W2CQH. KZ4 Bravo.
W4NKL.
KZ4 Bravo.
W4DCS. W4MEEC.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Let's see what we got here. WA4LLR and WB4ARK, W2CQH, KZ4B, WB4NKL, W4DCS, and W4MEC. This is N4LQ listing for more check-ins. Okay, well, I see we have a little residual static left over. There was some storms way out west. I haven't looked at the radar, but it sounds like they must have crept over this way a bit. No rain in the forecast here. It's 56 degrees in Shelby, North Carolina. Real quick down the list, LLR, ARK, CQH, 4B, NKL, DCS, and MEC. Anybody else out there before we start the round table? All right, we got a sidebander down below us there a little bit. That'll give us a bit of a problem, I guess. But if you keep your VFOs set up toward this part of the band, we'll be okay. And if your VFO tends to drift down, then start too high. that might help. I don't know. Anyway, looks like we're still having some dry weather. We did get I got enough rain yesterday morning to get the bottom of the rain gauge wet. That's about it. It didn't even come out when I turned it upside down. So anyway, let's start the roundup. WA4LLR. Go ahead and take it, Dave. N4LQ.
Okay, Steve, good morning to you and everyone on the net. Good signals other than the QRN from the storm system out in Missouri that stretches from Texas to Canada. And looking at the lightning map, there's quite a bit of electrical activity. About 55 degrees up here, partly cloudy, and running the Johnson 500 and the HRO 50T1. So that's pretty much what's happening in this neck of the woods. Down to you, buddy. WB4ARK, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, WB4ARK. All right, Dave, everybody's signal is quite strong today, even over the atmospherics. I didn't expect to hear all this coming in from the west, but it sure is like summertime. Got a good bit of atmospheric activity today, but everybody's signal is over that level, and so we got a good copy on everybody. Well, looks like another clear day today. We had a few cumulus clouds yesterday, but not much to speak of, and we had a slight amount of rain. I think it was a very small amount, but glad to see the Dodgers won the World Series last night. That was a great event. They pulled it off. I didn't think they were going to make it at first, but they came back and scored 5 runs, and then topped it off with a couple more. So it was a good game. Anyhow, that's the story here. So over to Reed, W2CQH, WB4ARK.
WB4ARK, W2CQH. Good morning, Annette. Yes, it was a good game. And today is Halloween, which was once called All Hallows Eve. 3 days, and that was where that name came from. And Sandy will put the ceramic pumpkin down from the attic. It has a light bulb in it, and take near the front window, and maybe we'll get some trick-or-treaters. Next door neighbor has some twin daughters who I think are about 12 years old, and maybe they'll come over and get some candy. So it may be quite a night. Okay, KZ4B, W2CQH.
Okay, W2CQH in the group. This is KZ4B. Finally, Miss Reed. Copying you fine today, although the sidebanders were trying to bleed through a little bit. Today being Halloween, I've got a safety vest like the garbage men wear that I plan to wear not only in my walk around the block, but today I go to get the stitches taken out at the dentist. And so I plan on wearing the safety vest over there too. So that's my Halloween get-up. So over to you, Cliff. WB4NKL in the group. KZ4B, over.
Yeah, KZ4B, WB4NKL. Good morning, everybody. Copying everybody over the QRN and copying Reed, but Reed's decoding that sideband again. He's always seems like on frequency and acting like a VFO for the sideband stations. I'm running still running the DX60, but I'm on crystal control today, about 740 cycles high, I guess, here. So, and running a pair of 813s for an amplifier, running about 100 watts a carrier, but it's a DX60. It's jumping up to about 600 on the peaks, looks like. 54 degrees, and looks like it's going to be a nice day. It might be another record. We had a record hot day yesterday, about 80, and that's supposed to be approaching the record again today. So Send it on to Doug, W4DCS. It's WB4NKL.
Yeah, WB4NKL in the group, W4DCS. Well, you're bumping 5 over S9 here, Cliff. And little Riley's got his ball stuck under the coffee table where he can't get it, so he's having a fit. That's my dog. And good luck with the stitches, John. Hope that all works out okay. And the safety vest ought to keep you good. So there you go. Maybe you get some candy. Well, I guess you probably can't chew candy, can you? So. Anyways, I hope that works out okay. What else here? Nothing else. Yeah, I was the same as you guys. We got a little drizzle yesterday morning, but it wasn't enough to amount to anything at all. So, very dry here. Charlie, what's going on up there in the hills? W4MEC, W4DCS.
Oh, okay, Doug, W4DCS. And the group, W4MEC. Good morning, fellas. And it's interesting how my SWR changes. I never can remember which way to turn the dials. Darn it. And that way. Let's see. There we go. Got to go to the left over here. And over to the right over here. And I don't know why I'm worried about it. The meter is showing one. It's a bar graph meter, and a third of the way up is 1.1. So that ain't much of an SWR. So now it's 0. Anyway, it's 58 degrees here and overcast. Well, partly cloudy. I just looked out the window. The sun is now up high enough to actually see the sky. Yeah, and partly cloudy. Looks like a nice morning. So, and yeah, it was a little warm yesterday. I don't know what it's supposed to be today. And I should get out there and run the lawnmower one more time, especially before all the leaves start dropping. Makes it easier to rake. So I need to get I got a rider that we bought from a fellow that was moving, and yeah, it quit working on me a while back, and I really don't know why. I always use a push mower, always have, but I got one leg that's been bothering me, so I figured, well, I better get this darn rider going again, and I got the battery charged up, and but I don't know why it quit. And because I was actually using it one time, and it just stopped dead in its tracks. So I don't know what the issue is, but I'd rather use a push mower myself, and but for the time being, I think I'm going to have to ride, but maybe not. Let's see. Okay, let's go around again with N4LQ and the group W4MEC.
Okay, Charlie. W4MEC, N4LQ. Do we have any new check-ins to the old Friends Net? Call now. Well, nothing heard. I don't know about bar graphs and SWR meters. Is a bar graph really a meter? Well, I think it sounds a little too modern. But now my ICOM, it's got a fake meter on it. Anyway, had a guy somewhere around here bought a new IC 7300 and called up a friend of mine wanting to know how to change bands, and he didn't know, so he called me, and I told him how to change bands. Yeah, what has ham radio become? I tell you, you can't just push a button that says 40 meters on it. There's no up and down button, but you hit the digit on the screen that you want to go to. Like if you're on 80 meters, the first digit will be 3. You hit that, and up comes the band buttons, and then you just change bands from there. That's how you do it these days. But that's how things have been simplified. Well, let's see. Reed was down 2 kc into the sidebanders. And yeah, Reed set that thing on 3716, and then we you might hit it. I know the last few times you've tried to adjust it, you don't quite make it up to 3715. I think you've got some kind of frequency counter there. I'm just wondering if it's off a little bit. Maybe that's it. But try to shoot past it a little bit. Maybe that'll help. And Doug, hope Riley gets his ball back so he can leave you alone. And Cliff, the DX60 is still sounding good. And let's see, as far as garbage vest goes, I don't have one of those. I've got a garbage can. I think I can cut the bottom out and wear that as a costume. How's that? So back over to you, Dave. WA4LLR, N4LQ.
All righty. N4LQ and the net, WA4LLR. Okay, good copy on everybody. Well, let's see. We've had no rain that I can find any evidence of, and it's been powder dry, but yesterday was such a pretty day. I broke my promise that I was not going to mow again this year, and fired up the mower and mowed grass and leaves and twigs in a cloud of dust and a hearty high of silver, and did mow it one more time. It does look good, but it won't for long, because the next time a little bit of breeze blows, it'll be covered in leaves again. But I did do it one more time. Hopefully that will be the last one for this year. We've got
545 yards to the green on this part.
Hallelujah celebration at church tonight for the kids. So we've been getting ready
545 yards to the green on this par 5.
And that's pretty much what's been going on here. Space weather, well, it's pretty good. It'd be really good if we could get the thunderstorm QRM out of the way, but sunspot count's 200, solar flux index is 270, and the K is 1.33. So that's pretty good band conditions. Several items on this day in history are interesting. On this day in 1517, Martin Luther nailed his 95 Theses to the Wittenberg church door in protest of indulgences, which resulted in the Protestant Reformation. On this day in 2020, Sean Connery died at age 90. Well, let's see, I'm about to drop my thing here. Here we go. On this day in 1968, President Johnson ordered an end to American bombing in Vietnam. On this day in 1941, Mount Rushmore was completed. On this day in 1926, Harry Houdini passed away as a result of peritonitis from being punched in the stomach. On this day in 1922, Benito Mussolini became Prime Minister of Italy. On this day in 1864, Nevada became the 36th state. And on this day in 1860, Juliet Gordon Lowe was born, and she was the lady that founded the Girl Scouts. So that's a few things from this day in history. And Reed, you were talking about Halloween, or All Hallows Evening. It was the church's attempt to Christianize a pagan celebration. So it became the eve of All Saints Day. So there you go. Anyway, back down to you, buddy. WB4ARK, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, WB4ARK. Okay, Dave, well, that was very interesting, this date in history. Yes, I think Halloween was always a great event for me when I was very young, because many of the older kids 5, 6, 7 years older than I was, or maybe 10 years older than I was. Always bought fireworks and shot fireworks at the corner of the street where we lived close by to, and I would the next morning go up and search for leftover fireworks, which I would typically find, and that was about the only way I could get a hold of any until much later in life. Well, I will say, Steve, you're right on as far as Reed's signal is concerned. I think he needs to come up to KC for sure, and that will put him in the better audio frequency range of my receiver. He's down into the sideband or the lower frequency people that are below us, and I'm sure they're probably not too happy about that. So crank her up a couple of KC, Reed, and you'll be in good shape. Let's see what else we got. Well, we're still working on this KWM2A. We're about to get it finished. We got a mixer problem. Got to figure out why our mixer's not mixing properly. And as soon as we do that, we'll have it done. Well, let's see what else. We're still on the Jerry's transmitter again this today. The ART-13, which will soon be Jimmy's unit. Wonder where Jimmy is today. One of the last days he'll hear it on before he takes possession of it. And I hope Cliff will have his power supply done soon. I wonder how that's coming along, Cliff. I have the power plug, so we will bring that along with the transmitter when we go to the luncheon. Well, I will say, I'm not saying 73 here. I'm just saying thanks for calling the net, Steve. We appreciate it. Want to get that in, and sometimes I forget and don't get it in time. So over to Reed, W2CQH, WB4ARK.
I'm at 3716.1. I hope I don't offend you people with the fancy digital receivers. But it will drift down to 15.0 as the net ends. My ART-13, as you know, is pretty drifty. I don't know why. I believe the temperature compensating capacitor was removed. I'm at least the third owner of this ART-13, so it's seen a lot of conversion. Right now it works on 80 meters only. The auto-tune mechanism is long gone. And shifting to a better subject, Dave, okay on the origin of All Hallows Eve, November 1 being, to some people, All Saints Day, but to other people, It's called Reformation Day. Depending upon which flavor of Christianity you're attached to. And Martin Luther, Sandra and I visited his church in Wittenberg, Germany. Actually, Wittenberg, the Germans call it. And we saw the door where he nailed his 95 theses. Of course, it's not the original oak door that was there in, I guess, 1517. So, on to KZ4B, W2CQH.
Okay, W2CQH in the group, KZ4B, fine business, read. My next door neighbor, I assume my next door neighbor's solar system is parked right, switching power supply is parked right on top of our frequency at the moment. So it was giving you a hard time, but I copied just about everything. So good for that. Doug, about the only decent thing about my dental surgery recovery has been the fact that my wife has taken pity on me, and she has showered me with Reese's Cups. I've been surviving on soup and Reese's Cups, so that is a candy that can be consumed when your choppers are very much out of order. So that's the trick. So I'm trick-or-treating for Reese's Cups. Shifting gears, the bar graph SWR meter. I've got a Palomar that I use on a regular basis. I've got, for sideband, I use an SG500 power cube. It's a solid state. It's about 600 watts because I run about 16.1 volts on it. On sideband for a lot of my QSOs. And it's so far away, the antenna tuner, that I can't read the meter. But I've got a Palomar bar graph that sits on top of the tuner, and I can see it quite nicely. So I'm a big fan of that. And the resolution is not crazy high, but the visibility is fantastic. So kudos for bar graph SWR meters if you don't have one close enough that you can read in a normal fashion. Shifting gears again, it has not rained a drop here since the hurricane. And about just a couple of days after the hurricane, the lawn care people came by and aerated my lawn. And you need to get a good stand of grass at the end of the summer and fall in order to have a good shot at nice grass in the spring. And so I have been irrigating the devil out of it, and it has really worked. So I may have to do one more mowing to cut the new grass and get rid of the leaves. So I have rambled on enough. Cliff, take it away. WB4NKL in the group, KZ4B, over.
KZ4B, WB4NKL. Okay, John, my Reese's Cup sounds all right. That's one of my favorites. So it's good to know that you can enjoy those. It's been, we had about a half an inch of rain the other day, but no rain yesterday. And they said it'd been the driest October on record, I think. So I guess that storm after that, it just wasn't any rain left, I guess. Buddy, I've about got Jimmy's supply ready. I got to get a Boone's bringing me a 24-volt switching supply to go in it down at the Hamfest Saturday, and I need the plug. I think that's all I need to complete it. So, but I'm probably going to let Jimmy go ahead and have this one that I've been running, and I'll finish this one up for myself. So he'll have it pretty quickly. He should be able to get on the air. And I'm kicking around coming down to the old friends luncheon, and I'll bring the power supply if I do that. So Jimmy will have a complete station there when he gets home. Let's see, nothing else here. I'll send it on around. Go ahead, Doug. W4 DCS. It's WB4 NKL.
Okay, Cliff, fine business on all. WB4 NKL, W4 DCS. And yeah, there's something about chocolate and peanut butter that just works. I don't know what it is, and a little bit of salt. And those things can be darn right addicting. So I'm glad you're able to do that, John. And hopefully you'll get some relief after the stitches are out and things heal up some. So anyway, I don't have much to tell here. I've been working on my Class E rig that I blew up. I pushed it to the limit, and it demonstrated its limits to me. So I need a bigger heat sink. That's it, Steve. Bigger fuses and bigger heat sinks, and that's what's happening with the solid state around here. Hi. Anyway, enjoyed it this morning. I'm not saying 73 either, but Steve, thank you for calling it. Your signal is really nice coming in here with beautiful audio. I don't know what you're running, but it sounds great. So, Charlie, here you go. W4 MEC, W4 DCS. Usually it's carburetors on those things.
W4 DCS in the group, W4 MEC. Well, maybe it is. When I get to that level, I'll check it. But good round. Everybody's coming in good, yeah. Reed came up in frequency, like Cliff said, he was doing a good job of demodulating that sideband station. But he was stronger, so we copied him no problem. So, Reese's peanut butter cups, and well, I guess you're going from having your teeth fixed to diabetes if you eat a lot of them things. And I think even the peanut butter's full of sugar in those things. So, but you can't deny they taste good, and I enjoy them also. The chocolate's pretty good in them, and I tell you something that I don't enjoy anymore is the darn Hershey's candy bar. I tell you, that thing is like a salt lick. I don't know why they put so much salt in that. There's so many other chocolates that don't do that, you know, in a bar. But for some reason, Hershey's is like seriously, you know, you need a couple glasses of water if you eat a few of those, you know, sections out of that thing. But anyway, let's see what else we got here. I don't know, they're supposed to come and pick up, the county says they're going to come and pick up everybody's trash, but I haven't seen anybody doing it, and they seem to be getting a little wishy-washy about it, so I don't know where to pile mine. I mean, road's only one lane wide. If I piled it where I needed to pile it, the folks, my neighbor that goes to the pasture couldn't get his tractor by it, so I'm probably just going to take it down trailer load at a time. I got one trailer load full already, so it's an easy drive up there, and And the lawn trash, or not lawn trash, vegetation trash, that kind of stuff, is a pretty big place. You just kind of drive up there and throw it over the side, so and nobody messes with you. They grind it all up. That's what's amazing, is all that stuff they grind up, they turn into mulch, and I don't know if they sell it or what they do with it, but a lot of it's used throughout the city and the county for landscaping on city and county stuff. So they use quite a bit of it there, recycling at its best, I guess. But it's still a chore. I made my comment on the email chain there about the recapping my Omni 6, and I sat there yesterday morning and went through every schematic and highlighted every electrolytic in the thing, so and found 73. And from previous experience, I've seen the 1 microfarad at 50 volts fail pretty much consistently in different Tentec units, and there's 32 in there. So I ordered enough capacitors plus 1 for each size, just in case I'm miscounted, and came out to 73 caps and less than $30. So I'll sit there one day when it's raining or something with my solder iron, my solder sucker, and just start and go through every board, and maybe I won't catch holy heck on 1864 with leak through carrier and off frequency. So I did note that the logic board, all that, there's not one electrolytic on that whole logic board that has anything to do with setting frequency, the processor. So I thought that was interesting. So but there are caps in some of the other frequency determining circuits. So maybe that's why it's eternally 50 cycles low. I don't know. So several crystals in there, they could all be drifted off, adding to that 50 cycles off, but that's a different issue. I'm not going to worry about that as long as they keep oscillating. M4LQ in the group W4MEC.
All right, W4MEC, N4LQ. Do we have any late check-ins?
WB4NKM.
Well, there's Larry. Hello, WB4NKM. Go ahead and make a transmission and turn it back to me.
Okay, well, good morning to everyone. This is Larry, WB4NKM, up in Wise, Virginia. Everybody's sounding good up here this morning with big signals. Well, we have about 55 degrees, a little breezy. I see the leaves are getting blowed off the tree, and we had breakfast, was listening to the group earlier, and thought, well, I'm going to get in here. Conditions are good. Quite a bit of QR Nancy, but everybody's covered that up. Back to you, Steve, N4LQ, WB4NKM.
All right, then. That's great. We're glad to have you, Larry, and we'll probably get one more round in and call it quits for the day, but better late than never, I guess. There's a bunch of people listening on YouTube, and I got a text message from one of them, said he's listening on the radio and on YouTube. So I don't. Good morning to W4AUV. Well, let's see. Charlie, on the capacitors, one thing I've done is take a big pair of pliers and grab hold of that capacitor and twist it just a little bit, and it'll break off, and then you can grab the pins and unsolder them in a flash. That way you don't ruin the circuit board. A lot of times if a transistor is bad or something, I just chop it off, crush it, chop it off or whatever, and then and just heat the joint up and pull it out, rather than try to sit there and suck that solder off. I'll tell you, that can be devastating sometimes. I have been seeing an antenna called a Chameleon lately. It's a company that sells tactical. That's the way they present themselves, as tactical. And anytime you see anything in ham radio that claims to be tactical, you know they're trying to emulate something military. Well, Chameleon makes a vertical antenna, and this guy posted a SWR curve this morning on Facebook showing his amazing frequency response from 500 kc, now down at the bottom of the broadcast band, to 50 kcs, a nice flat SWR, no more than like 2 to 1 across the entire spectrum. And he was just so happy with that. And it's a 25-foot stick, a vertical, and it comes with 73 feet of wire to do whatever you want to with it. Of course, it really doesn't make any difference. And it has this little, this blob that you connect your coax to, and inside that blob, we all know what's in that blob, and 25-foot vertical. And SWR is king. I mean, if you can get a low SWR, it just impresses the heck out of everybody. A Chameleon, which reminds me of the skinks. We've got skinks around here. That's what we call them. I don't know if a chameleon and skink are the same thing, but they're all over the place lately. Little lizards. They're cute little things. And yeah, they're kind of scared of you, you know, but we were sitting at the table on the deck a couple of days ago, and one of them crawled up on the table, and I took an ice cube and laid it down, and he came over and got a drink of water. So anyway, Charlie, okay on Hendersonville being built on ground-up garbage. I didn't know you could do that. I'm not too sure how sanitary that is, but hey, if it works, go for it. Let's see here. Breed, you're doing fine now. You're up here within the hearing range of us, and thanks for getting a little higher in frequency. And we got some sidebanders down a couple of kc below us, and sometimes that carrier acts as a BFO. So let's see if anybody's got anything else. We'll pass it around one more time for a round of 73s and then call it a day. WA4LLR to take it, N4LQ.
N4LQ, WA4LLR. Well, good morning to you, Larry. Good to hear you. Been a while. Charlie, sounds like a major job. 70 capacitors. Oh, mercy. I don't know, brother. More power to you is all I can say. John, I hope the oral surgery gets all healed up to where you can get back to chomping chicken livers like you like to do. Buddy, we never really had much fireworks around here on Halloween. Well, not legal fireworks anyway. Back when I was a kid growing up, it was kind of rough around here. Haystacks would get set on fire. People would turn over outhouses, and it was I don't know, they'd put stuff in the road for people to run over. It was kind of wild. But thank God it's tamed down in the last few decades around here. And buddy, you were talking about Jimmy not being here. Jimmy had to go and get an eye injection today. He gets injections in his eyeball for, I don't remember if it's macular degeneration or some eye problem. But the very thought of an injection in your eye just makes my skin crawl, but he does it on a regular basis. Anyway, not a whole lot more here. So I'll say 7-3. God bless everybody. Have a great rest of the week. And our next old friends, QSO, will be after the time change. So that'll be interesting to see how that works. Thanks for calling it, Steve. Everybody have a great day. WB4ARK, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, WB4ARK. Okay, Dave, well, let's see, Larry, good morning to you. Good to hear you. Dave, that sounds like some of the stuff that went on around our neighborhood when I was growing up. Of course, we didn't have any outhouses, but there was all kinds of stuff that got put in the roadway around our high school, and it was a trip. Yeah, there was one drugstore on the corner and one across the street, and that was about all there was there. And one druggist was liked very much. He was on our side of the street, and the other one on the other side of the street was not liked too much. So it was a trip. Yeah, and Steve, it's not garbage. It's wood. It's branches. It's parts of chopped up trees. There's no garbage in that. Garbage goes to a different place. Anyhow, yeah, Reed, your signal was much better when you came up, and you didn't drift any during the conversation, so maybe you haven't drifted down too much, or if you did, you can crank it back up again. Yeah, all ART-13s drift down in frequency from the start, and when they're cold. I'm down to 3715.39 right now. It started out at about 3716. We're just under that. So it'll stabilize now, and I could crank it back up, and it would be on frequency for quite a while. And that's very good about the power supply. I don't think this plug will hold you up too much. It was one that I purchased for Jim's unit. So we're ready to, and that's about it as far as Jim's unit's concerned, except for the tubes and the work on it. So I guess that's about it for me. Oh, yeah, Charlie, I guess that must be a solid state unit with all those electrolytics in it, because there's not that many. There's only about maybe 5 or 6 electrolytics in this KWM2A. It's void of large numbers of electrolytics. So we'll say 73, and everybody have a great rest of this week. So over to Reed, W2CQH, WB4ARK.
W2CQH, are you still with us? I guess he's run off. Okay, go ahead, John.
Okay, Steve. Quick question, Charlie. I've got an Omni 7. I'm wondering what what caused you to, what symptom caused you to replace all those electrolytics? What went south that made you go to that trouble? I've also heard that the little the ceramic filters on 7s can give trouble after some time, if you know anything about that. Shifting gears, when I was a kid, I lived in the Steel Creek area, which is out near the airport, so I was kind of a country bumpkin. And our parents would haul us into Charlotte to Providence Road, where all the high dollar folks lived, and we would trick or treat there. And it was quite lucrative. And because obviously if you're in the country, trick-or-treating is virtually impractical. And kids were a lot more vicious back then than I think they are now. In fact, the kids in my neighborhood, you have to beg them to take more candy, which we frequently do. But it's interesting how Halloween has evolved, maybe for the better. Shifting gears again, Steve, you were talking about the skink, the little skink lizards. When I was in Malaysia, they had geckos. I never met a gecko in Malaysia that had an English accent like the one on the commercial, which is cute as hell. But they were much larger than the skinks, and it's like they were tame. They were everywhere, and you know, they just crawl all over you like you weren't there. And so maybe that's why they selected a gecko for the commercial rather than a skink. A comment on the chameleon, which is obviously just a dummy load with a piece of wire attached to it. I know that I think it was B&W had a folded dipole that had a dummy load resistor so that it had a low SWR anywhere, and the military actually used those with KWM2s. And I know because I saw it in action, and of course that's very inefficient to say the least, and I'm surprised that the military would you know, actually go for that. But I think the whole idea was that they were probably had more trouble with people that didn't know how to operate an antenna tuner, that it was the lesser of two evils. All comments welcome. Thanks for calling the net, Steve. Enjoyed it immensely today. Signals were super strong, so it pretty well overrode the environmental pollution from the solar system next door. So on over to Cliff. WB4NKL on the group, KZ4B clear but listening.
KZ4B, WB4NKL. I'd like to hear those talking lizards too, John. That commercial's pretty neat. We used to have we're out in the country, and Halloween we used to have a lot of pranksters. They'd bring all the farm equipment and machineries and be piled up in the little town here, and on the next morning, and outhouses turned over, and it was just the pranksters must have spent all night. You know, kids today wouldn't put that much that much work into it, because there was quite a bit of work involved in what went on here on Halloween. Good morning to you, Larry. Sounding good there from Wise. Good to hear you on this frequency. And let's see, that's about it. I guess I'll say 73s too, and thanks for calling it, Steve. And Charlie, good luck on those 70 capacitors. That's a pretty good job. That reminds me, it's not different, altogether different work, but it reminds me of the SP600, recapping one of those, there's about 70, not electrolytics, but 70 capacitors in there. Black beauties, most of them. Pretty good job. 73s, go ahead, Doug. W4DCS, WB4NKL.
Yeah, WB4NKL in the group, W4DCS. Yeah, it always tickles me how the guitar player guys rave about, oh, you got to have those Black Beauty capacitors. They sound so good. The audiophiles, same way with the coupling capacitors. But years ago, I used to call a single sideband net, and those Omni 6s always sounded really good. So I always was kind of interested in one of those rigs. Not to say I'm going to. That last thing I'm going to do right now is buy any more transmitters or transceivers. So I'm kind of overloaded, but I say that. And of course, Cliff, you got those two hooligans going down to Lawrenceville with you. Better be careful, they'll load up that van on you when you're not looking. I know how that works. Anyway, Steve, thanks for calling it. Enjoyed it this morning, and we'll look for you guys down the line. Here you go, Charlie. W4MEC, W4DCS.
Okay, Doug, W4DCS in the group W4MEC. Well, thank you, buddy, for pointing out that it wasn't garbage, it was yard trash, leaves and branches and things like that they grind up, not milk cartons and cans. So anyway, yeah, cutting the leads on the thing, especially integrated circuits, you never want to try and unsolder an integrated circuit. You want to clip it out of there and just heat it up and pull each lead out of the circuit board there. So that's basically what I do. And why I'm changing them, well, I have several in there that have begun to discolor the board, and that could still be an issue because you don't know what it does until you get the capacitor off of there. And for some reason, the electrolyte in the capacitor is caustic, and it starts to eat the board, and it eats it in a manner that you cannot solder anything back to the trace. And I've had to scrape them traces off because they've been corroded, and use small wire to tie everything back together. You know, on one I actually built a subboard and stood it up on wires because all the traces were ate up from the leaking capacitor. You know, I'm shotgunning it because of that, and my previous experience with those 1 microfarad 50 volt jobs that they use like .01s everywhere, as bypasses and things like that. I've just run across so many of them that were just plain bad in the other 10-tech gear that I worked on for folks. So I'm just figured, this rig is 32 years old. It's actually an Omni 6. That the factory was upgraded to an Omni 6 Plus, so got all the paperwork for that. And anyway, that's the reason for the caps. Let's see, I had a couple of verticals. Yeah, after playing with verticals my entire life, if you ever have a vertical that says it, or anybody that's got a vertical and says it has a really good SWR response, what you got is a resistor, a vertical resistor. So the most famous and egregious vertical ad was when that 43-foot vertical came out, and everybody was selling that darn thing and said, you don't need a tuner, just hook it to your rig. You don't even need a counterpoise, you know. And that was about the biggest lie. That was a P.T. Barnum moment, a sucker born every minute. So, but they sold them. And I'm sure this guy, I went looking for Chameleon, and I saw a guy that sells some military-looking stuff, but I'm not sure I found the one you were talking about, Steve. And see, I can't read my name. Okay. Okay. And I bought something to close it out. I bought something on eBay, and it arrived yesterday. Interesting that it was mailed by USPS and mailed to the Postal Service. It was delivered by a FedEx driver. So I opened it up, and it was smashed. I spent over $100 for this thing, and it was smashed. And I said, man, what am I going to do here? So I emailed the seller, which is a commercial company. They refunded every bit of my money and said, keep it. So, and I got to looking at it, and it's the plastic part was broken pretty good, but I found all the pieces, and it's going to be a puzzle, but I think I can stitch it all back together and keep it. But I was happy that company, with no questions asked, refunded my money back. So I gave him a good report. So now, in addition to 73 capacitors, I've got to glue this thing back together a piece at a time. So 73, all. We'll look for you on Sunday afternoon with a different net control station. Let's see, we got Larry still here, WB4NKM, and the group W4MEC.
W4MEC. It's WB4NKM. Okay, Charlie. Everybody's had a vertical. That's what I think. And we learned our lessons on them. And I've been there with the damaged UPS stuff too. Good to be in here this morning. Great signals. Everybody sounds great. We're going to get out and see what we can get into. Had a lot of orange in the fire here lately, so maybe things will settle down. We got next door neighbors that's got graveyards in their front yard. It's what it looks like. Just a lot of happenings going to be going on tonight. Looks like black lights and all that. So may have a late night. Last night I went to bed early, around 8 o'clock, so I doubt if it'll be that early tonight. Well, I've enjoyed being in here. Say 73s to everybody. Everybody be safe and have a good week coming up. N4LQ, WB4NKM.
Okay, well, the band's starting to change. And once the time changes, it's going to make it even worse. And the only solution is to go back to 7 o'clock in the morning for the net. And that, I don't like getting up that early, so I don't think that's going to fly. But that's just the way it is. The chameleon antenna model number is the MPAS, which stands for Modular Portable Antenna System. Comes in a bag, and it's a vertical stick with some wire and that little resistor box. $600, you can have that, but of course it's military. I don't know. Anyway, when I remember back in the 70s, it was very popular on Halloween to go out and roll people, and they used toilet paper, and they would totally cover a tree with toilet paper. That used to be the big thing. So you got that to look forward to. Don't let me give you any ideas. All right, we'll say 73s. Thanks everybody for checking into the Old Friends Net. We'll be back here on Sunday at 6 p.m. So this is N4LQ, closing the Old Friends Net.